The next time you need a haircut, think of the barber shop with a grand tradition. Williams Barbershop. Williams Barbershop, proud to serve the entire community of Eufaula. Come by to our new location, new facilities, and see what it's like to be treated in style at Williams Barbershop in the old JCPenney catalog store. There is another choice for making funeral arrangements. Central Funeral Services, located in Eufaula and Louisville, Alabama. With one-of-a-kind staff, thrives on professionalism and meeting the unique needs of families with a wide variety of services. Owned and operated by the Mixon family. Call 687-1060 or 266-5261. Melissa Mixon Smith, licensed funeral director.
You're watching Gumbo Live, and I got with me a very special guest. It's the second time around. Chief Connor here with us tonight, and we're very glad to have him. Chief, good to see you. Good to see you again.
It was good to see you.
And we got many things that our listening audience and our viewing audience want to know, they're concerned about. Let's do this first, Chief. Let's start off by this. You've been here now how, a year? You local?
Oh, yeah, over a year and a half.
Year and a half.
At least, yeah.
Okay, on a scale from 1 to 10. Rate where we are now compared to where we were a year and a half ago. Police department. Police department.
I guess without throwing rocks at the department before me, because like I said, I'm not the great savior or anything, but I brought a lot of outside perspective as to what could be done with a modern police department. We're doing training that was never imagined before. We've modernized our equipment with things that were never imagined before, standardized our uniforms, getting a more standardized appearance, not only for police departments within ourselves, but for police departments in general, so that we are perceived as a more professional department. We've opened up our recruiting to target people that would like to stay. We've changed our internal structure so that there's more retention. We've made leaps and bounds.
So give me a number.
Well, from 1 to 10.
1 to 10. 10 is the highest.
There's always room for improvement. There's always things you can do better. So I'm going to say, conservatively, I think we've hit a 7.
Okay.
You know, I would hope that the number's actually higher, but I'd like to be conservative because there's always room for improvement.
Right.
But we've targeted a mission and targeted growth and targeted things that impact the community fairly and openly. And that's one of the changes we've made. We've tried to open up the visibility of the police department. We're probably more open to the media. I don't know how many police chiefs you've interviewed in the past. But you've come to know me not only through Gumbo Live, but we see each other personally.
Sure, that's right. Now let's talk about several things. Let's talk about several things that's in the news and that's going on nationwide, all across the country. Give us your definition of community policing. When you hear that word community policeman, what do you hear?
Community policing, there's a long, giant federal definition for it.
Give us your Eufaula definition.
I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
The federal definition would call this a self-manipulated recording device. I call it a pen.
Okay.
Community policing is really a system that came out of probably some very turbulent times in the 80s and 90s when there were some larger cities that were just absolutely mistrusted because of high-profile incidents involving the police and the community. And it was a move to try and target more of a partnership between not just the community but with other agencies. It looks at a lot of things, not just community relations, which is what a lot of people think of. Community policing is what can you do to make sure that your department is part of the community, not just an agency that is trying to rule over the community or enforce laws or dominate something. We're part of the community. Part of it is a realization that, like myself, I'm not just a police officer or the police chief. I'm a parent, I'm a taxpayer, I'm a voter, I'm a property owner, I'm someone who works in the community and spends my money in the community. I have friends and neighbors in the community, and this is my home. I'm not from here originally, but this is my home. Right now, people say, "Where are you from?" I'm from Eufaula, and I'm proud of that. But beyond the community relations, going out and trying to, which I guess people say, shake hands, kiss babies type things. We've structured ourselves internally to be more capable with what the threats are against the community, whether it's criminal or environmental, weather type things. If we're, the equipment we get to make sure that our mission capability covers what could endanger our community or what provides better service. We've changed our internal structure where we have a little more mobility as far as personnel retention and promotability of people. It opens us up as an agency, not just someone trying to go out and, like I said, standing in front of somewhere and, like I don't mean you sometimes would have the morning donut and coffee at the bread basket.
Sure.
And I think someone said, well, geez, what does that do? They're just eating donuts. That by itself is, sometimes we do go there and just eat donuts.
Look,
but we do a whole lot more.
Sure. Let me tell you, let me say a couple of things on that area. You know how I do, sometimes I cut you off.
I know you like donuts.
But now look, they got in Dothan, let's talk about Dothan. One of the most successful programs they have in Dothan, and it started after we started out with coffee and donuts with the chief. They got coffee with a cop.
Right, and that is part of community policing. That's actually a national program that. Yeah, before it hit Dothan, I was aware of that for. It's probably been out. Things that you can do, suggestions like that. But I've heard that term probably for a couple of years now.
But now, and I said that to say this, Chief Benton is very proud of the success they have because the community comes.
It's a good program, but I think they'll bring different officers in.
Right.
They may meet at McDonald's once, at Wendy's another time. Whatever restaurants they have. Larger community, different layout. They probably have more opportunity to do that. Where we're still working with a personnel structure where we're trying to make sure that we can cover our shifts and everything. And we do cover our shifts, but a lot of times we use people on overtime because we do go through a lot of personnel.
But look, Chief. Let's talk about this. Remember when we sit down and talk about this process of donuts with the chief? It's the fact that when we talked about it from the aspect of the average everyday citizen can come sit down next to the chief of police of this city and talk to you about whatever they wanted to talk to you about.
Sure.
And that was the idea behind it. And now Dothan is a different ball game because, like you say, they have a different officer or whatever come in every time. But now at the same time, one of the things they say, and you call the chief and he'll tell you, is that one of the complaints they have is that they don't have access to the chief.
Okay. And again, there's parallels of the program, the two things that we do, but there's also differences. And yeah, Dothan is a much larger city. There's certainly some significant differences in our jobs. My whole department maybe is smaller than one of his shifts. So
I understand
that. There's parallels, but you have to recognize those. It's like we talked about community policing, the federal program. If you try to apply that program exactly as formatted to every city, everywhere, it's not a one-size-fits-all. You have to take the elements and the goals of the program and match them to what your city needs so that it's a productive program. And that's what we've tried to do.
Let me say this. We talk about coffee and donuts, and then I'm going to tell you about something else. But I thought, and you thought, I can't say what you thought. I'm going to tell you what I thought when we talked. I thought that the citizens of this city would appreciate having access to the chief of police. You know what I'm saying? Because the talk was, before you got here, that only a few select folks had access to the chief of police. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
And you open it up to everybody and anybody.
It is, but
and I thought maybe that would be appreciated.
But as you know, we don't always get a lot of attendance there. Sometimes it's the same couple of people. But it's available. But people should also know that in my office, I've never turned anyone away. If someone wants to come see me, and if I'm not there, if I'm out doing something else, I always make time for them to come back. We coordinate it where I will not turn anyone away.
I just think it was a different atmosphere.
I think that's how we met.
I think they're, but let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let's go back again, community police.
Mhm.
I always thought that community police, part of community policing now, was the police being visible in all of the community,
That's part of it.
all of the community, and had a working relationship. Everybody on their street knew their name, and they knew everybody's name on the street. So with that in mind, and this can probably be hard, but what percentage of the city of Eufaula Police Department actually live in the city of Eufaula in the community? We know where you live.
Yeah, well, and I live in the city.
Yeah. What about your
You know, I guess I'm rough estimating it. It's probably about half of the personnel, not just the officers, but you know, dispatchers, jailers, everything. But probably that means half of them do not, but they're all within the surrounding area. And we do try and do things regionally. You know, whether it's always in Eufaula or maybe in Abbeville, like I guess an example, the Abbeville Christmas parade. You know, I went down and represented the city on that. We had a little participation in their parade, and you know, because we all work with each other. But true residents of Eufaula, I would say it's about half, maybe a little less. We do try and make sure that we hire people that want to stay, and we've targeted people that are local and want a career here and are not just passing through. But it's a competitive industry, and
okay.
there's other towns that offer.
Let's say you got half. Of that half, how many of them actually take their car home and park in the community? You have an idea? I know I may ask someone for a question, Chief. But, you know.
Every certified officer, the equipment permitting, has a vehicle issued to them. The ones that live in the city would take them home. The ones that live out of the city, there's a mileage restriction as to how far they would live out. Now, you know, the purpose of that, it's certainly a benefit to the officers to do that, and they don't mind that. But the purpose for that is it allows us a greater response capability, and these vehicles are like rolling lockers, rolling offices. You know, a pool car, and we have some at the police department that are just used when a car breaks down. An officer using one of those cars may have just what he carried with him to work that day, a clipboard with some forms, things like that. The cars that are issued, they have a lot more capability. They have the officers issued and personal equipment, like my own car. I mean, I carry water, I'm going to call MREs, meals ready to eat.
Yeah, I got you.
For field conditions, for emergency response, extra clothing, extra gear, everything from duct tape to Band-Aids. You know, just, you know, you never know what you're going to need. There's a lady that lives nearby that someone broke out her window on her car. I got out my roll of duct tape and we helped her take her car up. I mean, it's just,
so 50% of the officers live in the city and take their cars home. That's what we'll say.
Right.
That's what we'll say. All right. So I mean that they are visible in the community. Going to the local stores and churches and stuff like that. That's what we'll say.
Well, but they don't drive their cars outside of duty. I mean, they don't use it as a personal vehicle. They don't take them to the stores or churches. It is something they use for work.
Okay. So they got to take it home and park it.
Yeah, it just provides us, again, the ability to have them on a shorter leash for recall. And, you know, it does give some visibility out in the community when you see a police car in the driveway or something, but they don't drive them for personal use.
Let's talk about this. This also one of the things that came up recently, and all this is coming under, from what I'm reading, coming under community policing. Okay. Does the force reflect the same percentage of officers as minorities in the community?
No, it does not.
It does not.
No.
How more or less?
A lot less. You know, demographically, Eufaula is about 50% white or Caucasian and about 50% black. There's a scattering of some other ethnicities in there. Our department does not have. I'm trying to think. If we have 40 certified officers, maybe about 10 of them are black. We have tried to target some recruiting to make sure we are representing the community, to get some good qualified applicants in. But I've got to say, I've never hired someone because they're white or because they're black, or promoted them. I'll give you an example we talked about earlier. Promotion-wise, we promoted a couple of people that ethnically are black. None of them got promoted because they're black. They got promoted because they're qualified. They just happen to be black. Same with the white ethnicity.
Let me say that. Let me say this.
There's no one that I would promote because of their ethnicity.
I believe you.
Or hire for that reason.
I believe you. But let me say this to you. I believe you. God knows I believe you.
Well, you know me.
But yeah. But let me say this to you. That's the same song that's been sung for years.
But we're actually doing it. I mean, again, I don't know.
You understand what I'm saying?
I don't know the words to the song before us, but yeah, you can fake the dance. You can mouth the words.
Yeah.
But I think the proof's in the pudding. We've like I said, we've changed our structure. We've opened it up for promotion. We've made sure that the promotions were very fair, and being very fair, we've got some qualified people of all ethnicities that are represented on our force, and so we have promotions of all ethnicities.
All right, let's do this here then. Let's do this here.
Male and female.
Me and you both are ex-military.
Former military. You never
Yeah. Well, former military.
Okay.
There you go. And we know this here. We could be the same rank.
Right.
But your position could be a whole lot more powerful, more important,
Depending on
more effective.
Sure, depending on your assignment.
You know what I'm saying? So let's okay, that's a good word. So let's okay, we know we got some promotion, we made some promotion. In the decision making circle, am I making sense to you now?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Are there any minorities sitting around the table in the community in the table when they're now I know Mr. Knight said that he's been telling us for years that he runs the police department, so I guess he's at the table when decisions are being made. But I'm talking about officers, and I'm not talking about somebody elected. I'm talking about when decisions got to be made. Is there an officer of minorities at the table?
There's a chain of command in our department, depending on the level of the decision. I mean, ultimately, I'm responsible for all the decisions. Depending on the decisions being made, depends on the level that it goes down within the chain of command. The promotions that were made recently, people promoted to the next rank, that only opened up certain levels of our structure. I'll give you an example. I don't think we had any black sergeants that tested for lieutenant. I'm trying to think if we did or not. I don't think we did. So there were none that were promoted to that rank. We had some people at the rank of detective or patrol officers that tested for sergeant, and they were promoted to sergeant. All of the supervisors, whether it's corporal, and we go from patrol officer, talk about the certified positions, not the civilian workers.
Okay.
Patrol officer, corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, captain. We have a structure capability for major, but we don't have anyone in at that rank right now, and then up to the chief of police, which is me. Every supervisor supervises someone and has collateral duties where they're in charge of the input and the decisions made for that area. Let's say a corporal, black or white, because we have both. They tend to be used more as the ground level liaison to the troops, the training officers, the people that actually take the young men and women that we hire and mold them into what they're capable for their assignments, where they would be assigned. Yeah, we rely very heavily on them. But it's my decision.
Okay, let's do this here. Let's say there's something very controversial.
We don't have any controversies.
Well, let's just
theoretically.
Okay. There's something controversial, and it may be tinted racially, and you burn in the midnight oil. Let me ask you this here. Let me see if I can get this.
I'm even trying to think of a scenario because
Okay. But I'm trying to see who's at the table.
Okay, well,
who's at the table?
If it's a command staff type thing, the captains certainly weigh in very heavily. A lot of times decisions are made at that level.
No minorities.
It may
no
be.
minority captain.
There's none at that rank right now.
Okay.
However, we do consider the input from the entire department, whether they're a supervisor or not. When we have personnel issues or boards that go over actions concerning, whether it's, let's say, an officer has a traffic accident, we'll have a supervisory board. Again, it's my responsibility to decide, is that person guilty of some violation of policy? Is there something that they should have done or should have done, or anything that I need to hold them to a standard? I've created a system where we have a supervisory board where at least 3 supervisors of any rank, which could be corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, will sit on that board, no less than 3, and they'll make a recommendation to me. Again, based on kind of a military background, unless there's a reason not to follow that recommendation, I tend to stick with it, because that's how we're growing those people to be the next higher ranked officers.
Okay. Let's do this.
So yes, they do weigh in very heavily,
Okay.
but again, the responsibility for the decision is mine. If
Understand it.
if I'm sitting here with you and
Yours.
it's my fault.
I got you. All right, let's do this then. Let's do this. And we're still talking about community police. We'll move on to something else in a minute. But I want to talk about this again from a different aspect. Who is there a position, or is there a person that you can pinpoint who is a liaison between the police department and the community?
We don't have anyone individually assigned to that. I certainly do as much as I can in that role. We have some officers that are a lot more proactive in that role because they manage certain sections. The people that interface with the community, I'll tell you, the correctional administrator, Lieutenant Williams, is very heavily in that role, but he also works way outside of corrections to do everything he can to be part of the community and part of the police department. So a lot of times it's seeing something that needs to be done, taking the initiative. I'm someone that tries to set goals for the department, but I also rely on people helping us drive to those goals. I tell people kiddingly, some of the best advice I ever got when I was an officer in the Coast Guard was from a ranking enlisted person, and I said the best advice he always gave me was, "Sir, you can't do that." I'd say, "Okay, I need this to happen, let's do this," and he'd say, "Sir, you can't do that." I'd say, "Okay, here's where I need to be, how do I get
there?" Right.
And so yeah, I rely very heavily on every member of the department, specifically the supervisors, and ethnicity doesn't matter. I just need valid input from the personnel.
Let's talk about this. And we still talking about community police. If you were going to be the liaison, do you think you'd be less effective if you didn't come with all your gear on? Listen to what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
If a patrolman come to me, I expect to see the nightstick and the gun and all that other stuff. You understand what I'm saying? But if I'm out there trying to be the liaison between the police department and the community, I ought to look a little bit more like them. You understand what I'm saying? So far as dress. You know, I put my tie on today for you. I put my tie on. Because I thought you was coming in with your...
And it's a very nice tie.
I thought you was coming with your tie and stuff on. You follow what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
You called me today, and this is what I wore.
Yeah, I got you. But am I making sense though?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can tailor your equipment, your persona, your look to the mission of the day, to something specific, yeah, absolutely you should, because you want to be. You want people to identify with what you're talking about, what you're bringing. But typically, our average day is an operational day. I mean, true enough, I'm today, signing off on bills, dealing with personnel issues, things like that. But on an operational forum, there's really nothing else. Like no speeches to give. I didn't always going to be here.
Right.
So I'm basically another officer that's capable of responding. That's one thing as a leader of any agency. You should not be incapable of being there with your people. Now, my job is not to do the patrol officer's job, but I should be capable of backing them up. I should not send them into somewhere that I just blindly have no idea what they're being sent into. I need the awareness to be able to get out there so that if I can make sensible decisions on training, equipment. But typically, if I go somewhere, I guess an example today, I'm driving from point A to point B in the town, and one of our Sergeant Bobby Gilbert, stopped a car, I believe it was for speeding. When he stopped him, yeah, I'm the police chief, but I should also be capable of making sure that he's safe. And when you stop a car, you don't know who it is until you can kind of degrade or de-escalate what you have. You have to approach everything knowing that the first thing I want to do is make sure I'm safe, that person's safe, we should all be able to go home. So I stopped behind him, and I got out, I stood by his car and made sure that he had a good safe contact. And when he walked back, he said, "Yeah, I'm good, it's just a guy for this." I said, "Okay, see you later."
And that's why, that's why so many
Yeah.
calls, when somebody gets stopped, sometimes you see 2 or 3 calls out there, man, but that's a different thing. But look, let's talk about this. This is what I believe in. I believe in letting people talk.
Sure.
I believe in that. I believe in letting people talk. And that's one of the things I got excited about when we talk about coffee and donuts with the chief. Because I thought folks would come and talk. If somebody was present to your department, quarterly meetings with the community, where people from the community could come and ask the department, ask you questions, maybe have an officer or two with you, can ask you questions, without having to write them down and somebody else reading them for them. Yeah, mate.
Well, I'm all for it. I see that as nothing but good.
That's one of the things.
Anytime we can talk to the community and hear what they're saying, they hear what we say. But I also want people to realize, yeah, we listen to people, but I also want people to realize that law enforcement is a specialty. It's a profession. It's just like if you're an electrician or a carpenter or the guy that flies an airplane. You have expertise in your profession. This is our profession. We may view things a lot differently. I mean, if I'm driving down the street and I see something in a car, and I do this with my wife all the time, I say, that car's doing this or that, and she'll look at me like, what? and then the car will do it. That car's going to turn right. So, what? It's because we do. Crickets in my pocket. Turn this down.
Okay.
It's because with that expertise, or when you're in the military, in your field, you're gonna be able to be in tune to things that to you will make sense. You know what's happening, where other people might say, "Oh no, that's just a guy driving down the street. That's like anyone else."
Look, you said something.
So we do have to listen to people, but we also have to realize that people need to realize that we're very specifically trained, and we're there to protect. The first thing we have to guarantee is that our services protect the community, and part of that is protecting ourselves.
One reason why I am so for letting people talk is because of my military training and my military job. You follow what I'm saying?
Sure.
And if people can, if you could make yourself available quarterly to the people, y'all come in here and you can ask me any questions you want, and what I can answer, I will. You can say anything you want to say. You follow what I'm saying? That helps, man.
We do that, but it also needs to be maintained orderly. I mean, if someone has an axe to grind, if they want to come in and just create a scene and debate, well, come see me. If there's something we need to work out, let's work out. But it is to be something that's productive and positive, not confrontational. If someone wants to engage in something confrontational and say, "Yeah, y'all did this," or "You didn't do that," come see us. You may not agree with what I say, but I'll always give you an honest, fair answer. And I've done that with, that I've done that with other people. And some people walk away saying, "No, I didn't like that." But but I'm consistent. It's going to be an honest, fair answer. It's not what makes me more comfortable, because if we make a mistake, we own it.
Right.
Look, I have no problem with that.
Let me talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I sit and told a man the other day, I'm scared as hell. Because I know our history. I know the history.
History you follow? History of...
No. American history.
Okay.
And civil rights and all that stuff. And I happened to watch the movie Selma last week. Matter of fact, I got a copy of it in my house. And the other night I was going through the TV. Might have been last night, and I watched a movie called Help. This is what scared me, Chief. This is what scared me. Look, I'm talking about from the naked eye. Man sitting in city council meeting, hold up a sign, non-threatening. I had the man come right here, Chief, said, man, you sit, and I read the sign.
Sure.
Nothing vulgar, nothing threatening, okay?
Sure.
This man, by power, told you to remove the man from the meeting,
Okay.
all right? Now, the best that me and him could figure out from asking questions and doing our own little research, he wasn't violating no law.
Yes, he was.
Okay, all right. Now, okay, let's talk about that in a minute. Let me tell you what scared me. Okay, I've seen folks with bad intentions
Okay.
use the police force
Okay.
to shut down
Okay.
folks who were just speaking up and standing up for their own rights. I've seen them do that.
Sure.
All right.
I don't deny that
And
that happens.
I always believe that the police shouldn't bother you unless you break the law.
Right, that was not the case that day. I mean, that was not someone shut down because of an elected official giving an order.
Okay, tell me.
This-
Let me tell you this first. If you tell me you violated, you'll be the only one in Eufaula and Barber County who told me that it was a violation. I'm talking about lawyers, judges, and everybody else.
Okay.
If you tell me he violated something, you're the only one.
Okay, my call as a police officer.
Okay.
We're in a meeting, everyone knows we're talking about the city council, especially called.
Right. On YouTube and everywhere
A lot of passion. I'm gonna say it's a situation that's volatile. It wouldn't take much to set it off. The gentleman, I don't know his name, but,
Stephen Brown.
okay, again, I never did know his name.
Okay.
I never asked him his name.
All right. All right.
He's sitting in one of the seats. I'm behind him. As the meeting's going on, he holds up a sign. The law regarding disorderly conduct talks about disturbing public meetings. It's my call as a police officer as to whether or not I feel that he has, that I have cause to believe that he has violated the law. He's basically satisfied the elements that create that law. It was my call that he did. I'm already walking forward. About the same time, I believe it was Mr. Powers says.
Wait, hold on. This is a very important part.
Okay.
This is a very important part right here, Chief.
Okay.
If by power would not have told you to remove him, you're just going to do it anyway. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
That's what you're telling us?
Yes.
Because he violated.
Yes. Because it's in the interest of public safety. It's a very it's a very judgment call. It wasn't anything sensational like jumping up and cursing or getting violent or threatening or something like that. But in my opinion, as a police officer, as a trained police officer, he's doing something in a volatile situation that's going to make things worse. He's causing a little bit of disturbance. The sign was blocking the view of some people behind him. I'm moving forward. Mr. Powers, I believe, says remove that man or get him out of here, something like that. I walked up to him and he set his sign down, and I said, "Can you come on out with me?" And I think he asked me if I leave my sign down, can I stay? I said, "It's better if you come out," something like that. He walked out, he was very cooperative, very nice.
Okay.
And when I went outside with him, he started walking off, and I said, "Hold on a minute," and he turned around, and I said, "I want to shake your hand." I actually shook his hand, and I said, "Thank you for cooperating with me." It was just something that's, we're kind of in the middle of. There's a lot of passion.
If he'd have said no, you'd arrest him? If he'd have said no, I'm not going out.
If he's committing the violation of disturbing a public meeting, that is an arrestable offense. We want to handle it where it's safe for everyone. We don't want to be one of these things where it turns into a brawl or anything like that. If it's something that's going to turn into something that's more dangerous, there's options we have. We could have asked.
What right do he have, Chief? What right of freedom of speech does he have?
He does not have the right to disturb a public meeting. If he wants to express his viewpoint, he needs to do it consistent with the law. If you'll notice, I don't think people saw this, I don't know if it's on the video. The second that meeting's over, and I think the gavel got banged, and that's been controversial too, I guess, as to when the meeting did it. But anyways, the second the meeting's over, he comes walking back in, holding his signs, has been walking around the room. And I had some people say, "He's back in." I said, "The meeting's over." I mean, again, because the law talks about disturbing a public meeting.
Okay, see, now.
But you know, he was cooperative.
I understand
It was the best thing that could have done.
Look, come on now, we form a military. And we've seen countries, we've seen
Sure.
communist countries use their military and their police so they can have their way and disregard other folks' rights.
That was it. He would have had his opportunity to speak like anyone else. He's doing something that had the potential to get out of control. He's creating again, he's disturbing the meeting by holding the sign up. That, again, it's a judgment call. It's not a very gross, like, in-your-face violation, but he committed a violation.
Okay.
It was in the best interest of that meeting to get him out of there.
You told me now, I'm gonna go look at this again. I got it on tape.
And I do thank him for...
Yeah, I understand that, but I got this on tape.
Okay.
All right? They made sure I was not there, but they made sure I got it. And it's on YouTube all over the world. All right? Now, when he hold up the sign, tell me where the disturbance is. Nobody on side of him said nothing? Unless I missed it.
It's not a matter of waiting.
The only person said something was Bob Powell. And because the sign was addressed to him. And the only thing he told you to do was get him out of there. And the police come and get him out of there. So now,
He's holding up the sign.
I would never question your experience. But tell me what the disturbance was.
There's a point of order in the meeting where if people want to talk, there's an appropriate way to do that. He's in the middle of a meeting. It's very passionate. It's getting heated between different people in there. He holds up a sign that starts blocking other people's viewpoint. You know, we're not going to wait for it to explode. We want to handle it quickly before it gets out of control and handle it professionally. He was asked to leave. He was very cooperative, very polite. He did leave. He said, I just, again, when I thanked him, he said, I just wanted to make my point, and I think I did that. And I said, well, thank you for cooperating with us.
Let me tell you what happened.
No, if he did not leave, it's not, again, it's not a point of...
Okay, what happened when we went there?
It's not a point of jump on it. You still have to handle it professionally. What I would have requested at that point is if the person in charge of the meeting would have just declared a recess while we deal with the situation. Do it professionally and calmly, and not create one of these "don't tase me bro" episodes where we're having a fight with someone. Because yes, that man does have his voice, but he needs to do it in a way that does not have the potential to get out of control by creating a disturbance.
I think two things.
Like I said, it's a judgment call.
Yeah.
But police also act to prevent things from happening. You don't have to wait for the fight to break out before you stop the fight.
But it takes two people. It
takes one person satisfying the elements of a crime for me to have cause to believe that he did that. Now, that doesn't convict him of it. For him to be guilty, we'd have to charge him, go before a judge, and it would be up to a judge to say, okay, yeah, I find you guilty, or I don't. What I had was enough cause to believe that he was committing the crime, and it had the potential to cause things to get out of control.
I would say amen to what you said. If I said amen now, I'd be saying it just because you said it. But I would say amen if one person would have said, put that sign down. If one person would have responded to him in a negative way, then I could see y'all stepping in.
You can't wait for that. You have to, again, preventing. He's doing something that's going to disturb the meeting. We need to stop it before it gets out of control. If you notice, I think the meeting the following day, I think a bunch of people started chanting and it was verbally getting out of control.
Really? Y'all put them out?
I mean, everything was engaging in that. And I walked to the front of the room that day and I said, excuse me, everyone just kind of, keep things down and let the council do their business. And, again, that handled, it's what we can do to professionally keep order, make sure it's safe. So
I got a hard one
people
for you.
do have their voice.
I got a hard one for you.
Okay.
I got a hard one for you. And you know I love you. You know that.
Okay.
I don't care what nobody else tell you.
Okay.
You heard it from me, okay?
Okay.
You're my friend. I don't care what nobody else say.
Okay.
Tell me the difference between what Stephen Bryan did at the city council and what happened, 50 years ago at the Evan Curtis Bridge. Tell me the difference. Police on this end, folks just walking across the bridge, going to Montgomery to express their...
You're asking me something when I was probably about 5 years old, but I know the history.
Well, you know the history.
Yeah, I know the history.
Yeah, yes, sir. You ain't done it. Tell me the difference.
What I don't know about the Edmund Pettus Bridge, whether or not that was a permitted event, whether or not they even required a permit, whether or not there was some other issues of illegal assembly, I have no idea about what that was. What I can say is that if that was a legal march, then they should have been allowed to march legally. Now, again, the tactics used, I can't comment on the tactics used. If you know, again, the gentleman holding up the sign, you know, he was politely asked, he responded, he was politely removed. I don't think the tactics would have been leash the dogs on them, or unleash the dogs on them. It's, you know, it was something that you need to handle proportionate to what's going on.
Okay.
Again, you know, what happened in Selma, you're talking about turbulent times when people had dogs and fire hoses and things set on them. I'm 5 years old. You know,
I'm not.
But I guess, again, not to replay the history of it, but
But it's a matter of power.
yeah, there were some atrocities
Look,
back then.
it was a matter, and I don't want us to relive that. But what we need to look at the root of that. The root of that was power. That was the root of it. One person said, no, y'all ain't gonna do it. And then they called
Power, though.
No, I'm talking about the Independence Bridge and the meeting too. I'm trying to show you the comparison that, Chief.
Now,
And that's what scared me.
Like again, in the meeting, that's something that I saw, and I mean, because I'm not far behind him, but the second he's doing it, it's like
I didn't know that.
we got to keep.
So now we're learning something.
I mean, you know, a lot of times at the city council meeting, I might be by the door, I might be outside.
Right.
You saw me up there within like a microsecond, because I'm pretty much right there.
Yeah.
And it was, again, it was just a professional.
So now let's clear this. Let's clear this, because I'm learning something tonight, and my viewing audience learning something. And matter of fact, we're gonna have this tomorrow night at 6:45.
Okay.
Channel 97. We're gonna have it again. Plus, it's gonna be on YouTube. Everything we do is be on YouTube.
Okay.
So you can pull it up wherever you are.
Sure.
So we learning something. So you were saying to us tonight, the police in you had you gone towards the man anyway, and you would have responded the same way you responded if Bob Powell wouldn't have said the thing.
Bob Powers had nothing to do with me making that decision.
Okay, all right.
You know, I certainly, I know that he said something, but I'm also prepared if someone gives me an order that is illegal, I'm not going to follow it. I mean, I can't.
That's what I want to hear you say.
I'd have said, you know, I'm sorry, but there's no violation. Again, when that man walked back in holding the sign after the meeting, and Mr. Powers didn't say anything to me about that then, but some other people in the audience did say, hey, he's back in. And I said, the meeting's over.
Yeah.
Meeting's over.
Yeah. All right.
Again, it's not the police in me, it's the desire to make sure that order is maintained. And that was the best option to do that and not get it out of control.
And if more than one person would have had a sign, and everybody had to
I
go.
compliment that man for
Is that right?
Sure.
If more than one person would have had a sign, everybody with a sign had to go.
If it had gotten to, you describe like kind of a mass disobedience, we'd probably said, we need to adjourn the meeting, we need to, until we restore some order, you know, tell people that, these are the rules of the meeting. You know, if
But there is no rule. There is no rule, so you can't carry a sign, Chief.
There is a law that says if you're disturbing a public meeting, that's against the law. And that's what was happening. Again, it was a very low-level violation. It was treated as
All right.
and I compliment the man for
Define for me. Define for me. And I ain't no dummy, you know. And I got some educated folks listening. But define for me. What's a legal definition of a disturbance?
That's when you get into the dictionary.
Well, you was moving because it was disturbance, you said.
Yeah, I mean, it had...
You was already moving because it was a disturbance.
You know, I guess the meeting is supposed to proceed in an orderly manner.
Okay.
With protocol.
Okay.
This is something that is causing it to intentionally deviate from that protocol, which is blocking people's view. Again, that's the call that I made.
Okay, all right.
If you disagree with it, that's fine.
But it didn't affect what they were...
Let's say everyone who's watching this disagrees with it. That's the call that I made.
Okay.
Was that it had...
potential.
Well, it is creating... It's not the potential to commit a crime. He is creating disturbance as soon as he starts blocking other people's view with the sign. And it's a volatile situation, and people are starting to, you know, just politely retract the man, and he did, and that's what we did. He was not arrested.
Okay.
I didn't even know his name till
Okay.
he
But
told me that.
look.
Again, it was,
It did
not everything is an arrest, but it was something
Okay,
made to
it
achieve.
did not interfere with the business of the council. The council was up there, he was back here. They did not interfere with nothing they was gonna do.
It disturbed the meeting by blocking people's views with that sign. That's exclusively what guided my decision.
Okay, all right.
He holds that sign up, there's people behind him, they can't see, people are moving around, things are happening. I mean, there's,
I'm just always, I'm just,
to do nothing until it turns into a fight, or turns into arguments, or turns into whatever, is me not doing my job. You know, that was strictly about order and public safety. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
No,
He
no,
did something
good job.
that was causing a meeting to be disturbed. My call.
all right, I'm glad you said that. We learning something now. We're learning something. I'm just, now look, there's a bill before the legislature here in Alabama, and really across the country, but here, I'm concerned because it's here in Alabama, and the bill said anytime there's a officer involved shooting, to immediately get an outside, what it said, review.
So you're looking at paper.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
yeah, it's on the newspaper. I thought that I try to do my homework. I don't
Okay,
just-
yeah, I haven't even seen that yet. That's, I guess the Dothan Eagle.
Yeah.
And I have no idea if that's talking state or national or what.
No, this is state right here.
Okay.
I can show you. It said right on top of that, state. It says state. But look, let me say this to you. Let me compliment you and the department for several things. You know, everything hit the fan, and people talk about they ought to have cameras. And I have friends call me from everywhere. I've always been friends with police. But anyway, I said, man, we got that already in Eufaula.
Yeah.
So we already, each officer got their own personal camera. Montgomery ain't got that yet. Montgomery don't have that yet. And I'm not sure how we stand on cameras in cars. You know.
Cameras in cars where we are, I don't want to give the exact numbers because there is some tactical capability for those that have them, those that don't.
Okay.
But we do not have cameras in every car. However, every certified officer and our animal control officers have a camera.
Okay, and that's what I be bragging about. I said that we got that, and we talked about the tasers. I said, now first, I know every officer, you know, what they're doing. We said, well, this is what we ought to do. Again, let's come back on the community policing and having a good relationship. They all ought to have the body camera. I said, we got that in Eufaula.
We do.
He said, well, I don't have the cameras in the car. I said, we got that. You know, they ought to have tasers, and they ought to be trained to use their tasers first. I said, first, I know we got that. And I think, but then listen to me, Chief. Coffee and donuts with the chief. That kind of information getting out to the community.
Yeah.
That's not but positive.
It is, but that's one element. That's one of the crumbs that make the whole cake for community policing. I mean, it's not just the meals or the public meetings. It's everything we do. It's the internal policies we have that demand fairness. It's our zero tolerance for people that would act racially. You know, it's like I said, it's not just how we perceive the community, but how we perceive ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. The community perceives you in a certain way. All right. And the only way that you can change that is by talking.
Well, through visibility.
Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? I don't like to see. I don't like to see folks with oozes and guns and all the time every time they come talk to somebody. You understand what I'm saying? And folks need to know, man, just because your tail light over, I ain't gonna knock your side here because your tail light over. And we can only know that. We only know that by somebody out there sitting down with the community and saying, look, we don't put up with it.
Right, but again, how you see us is, again, that's one of the elements. You know, we have to be fair whether you see us or not. We have to be very.
But are you concerned? Okay, let me back.
We have to be very honest with everything we do. What I tell people about myself, when people say, well, you know, what are you? I say, you know, one thing I'm consistent.
Yeah.
You know, some people say, well, make sure when you get in front of this person, do or don't say this or don't. I said, you know, I'm the same
person. Yeah.
There is no honor off the record.
Yeah.
I'm the same guy.
Yeah.
Either side of this camera, either side of this TV show.
Right.
you know, I'm no different.
That's right.
If me and you are standing out talking about our beloved LSU Tigers.
That's right, that's right. But look, should the force, should every officer, and again, this falls under a lot of stuff, should every officer be concerned about how the public perceive them?
Oh yeah, I mean, you should be aware that everything you do needs to be positive, or at least, again, fair. I mean, sometimes we do things that are, you know, arresting someone. I won't say that's a positive thing, that's a necessary thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is ultimately positive for that person's life. But yeah, there's some things that we have to do that I wouldn't wish on other people. But the officer needs to know that everything he does has to be consistently for the accomplishment of his mission, which is to serve his community fairly and honestly.
Well, let me do something right now. You know you're watching Gumbo Live, and I told you Gumbo Live would always be informative and fun. Now I got to do this, Chief.
We're not going to do the hokey pokey or nothing.
No. I got to do this though, because I got on this program with Stephen Brown sitting right there, and the truth I told him was this: I talked to everybody I could talk to, couldn't find out no law he violated. So because I couldn't find out no law he violated, I stated that it was unfair.
Okay.
What was done to him. Now I got to come back and say what
well, and you know, you can still have.
But see, if you wouldn't have said what you said,
you can still have, you know, and anyone that wants to tell me that, I mean, if you said the judges and everything watch your show, you know, they may come up to me and say, yeah, I don't think you should have done that. Okay, you're the judge, but I have to make that call as the officer on the scene with the most direct look, the closest to what's happening, the best information to protect the community, and that's the call I made. And ultimately, the meeting did not spin out of control into a fist fight, or and no one was hurt. It worked out well, and that's positive.
But see, you're proving my point by being on the show.
Yeah, people question what we do every day.
So, but you're proving my point, Chief, by being on the show. That's why my whole argument to the city council, to the mayor, to you and anybody, we got to let folks talk. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And you can't just let me talk. I'm putting out facts out there that I don't know. Or I'm putting out what I know, but I don't have the whole picture.
But not everyone.
You see, if you wouldn't have came on the show and said what you said, that it was a violation, and you was moving before biopower even said something, we giving biopower hell because we, for lack of a better way, you sick the police on this man.
No, that's,
you understand what I'm saying?
And I know what.
And that's all the fact.
You said, but that.
Yes, but that's all the fact that we knew until you came on here and told us different. So that makes my argument that we need to talk.
You know that I attend every city council meeting that I'm in town.
Right.
And you know, I'm looking out for people's safety. You know, when everyone is we always have a prayer to open the meetings. You know, again, I guess kind of the tactical mindset is because people do use meetings as sometimes an opportunity to attack something, or you know, to do some violence or something like that. You know, when we're praying, I'm still keeping my eyes on the safety of everything. It's you know, even if it's you know, you're always listening. You don't let your senses or your guard down, because if you do, then you let the people that trust you to protect them down, and you can't do that.
Yeah. Look, I know I'm taking a lot of your time, but there's a lot of things that be said.
Not every violation of the law results in an arrest. It's just like every traffic stop. You stop someone for speeding, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get a ticket.
That's right.
You resolve it. I like telling people, and I tell our personnel this, even disciplinary-wise, I said, I like things to be resolved at the lowest appropriate level. You know, the intention is to correct the situation, not to hammer the person.
Yes.
If you can address something at a low level, like I talked to, I think you said Mr. Brown, the man with the sign.
Oh, Brian. Stephen Bryant.
Bryant. Okay. You know, that was handled at a low level, but it was handled. He was not arrested. Like I said, I never even asked him his name. Like I said, I shook his hand. But that might have been the first time I think I even saw what his sign said.
Yeah. But look, Chief.
But, I mean, you know, I saw you had a sign, but I didn't concentrate on the sign. I'm concentrating on the behavior.
Let's talk about this. Hear me now. All I'm saying.
If you held up a sign, I'd ask you to leave.
Yeah, and then I'd have to think. See, that's why I asked you the question, what happened?
But again,
what happened if I'd have said, no, I ain't leaving?
Again, that's where you're getting in, that's where it is turning into something else. You know, if a police officer comes up and says, hey,
leave.
You need to do this, then follow the law, follow the police officer's directions for the safety of everyone. Go ahead and do it, and then resolve it.
Later, I got you. I agree. I can't argue that. You're right.
That's what would be.
You're right. You're right.
I'll give you
You're right.
I'll give you an LC Green example.
Okay.
This is probably, gosh, it could have been a year ago. I think you were at a meeting, and I think you were getting a little vocal with laughing or something like that, and I think I walked you and I said, you need to tone down.
Yeah.
You know, again, because it's contagious. It'll cause other people to pick up on, you know, again, I don't even know that it would be disturbing, like the violation of the law at that point, but, you know, it was something that was it was growing.
Yeah, I got you.
And
I got you. But not, and listen, I'm not gonna argue that no more, because you very well clarified that.
well, again,
The whole incident.
I made a call, and that was my call,
And all I'm saying,
and
and
I'm glad it worked out the way.
yeah, and you clarified that. You clarified that. All of us had a different view of it. That's why I'm saying.
But no one had my view.
That's right.
Where I'm thinking the law, the safety,
That's right.
the
That's right.
potential to.
That's why, Chief, I'm saying that it's so important that we talk. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
And when you got situations created where folks can't say nothing. Folks can't say
No,
nothing.
and that's not the case.
You know what I'm saying? Then you got a problem. So all I'm saying, and like I talked to you earlier, I said, man, look, why don't y'all have a quarterly meeting with the community? Just let them say what they want to say. And I suggested that to the mayor when he first got elected. He came back and told me you don't have to have that. Then you got all kind of problems. You got people saying all kind of crazy stuff on the street. You got folks like me getting on TV and saying something, you know. And I thought I had my facts. I thought I'd done my homework. And I said, man,
you do, but
it wasn't no violation.
You have a view from someone who is, again, this law enforcement is like an industry. I'm a specialist in that industry.
Yeah.
And there's things that I recognize, you know, the potential of someone standing there with gasoline on the floor and he's holding a book of matches and he struck it but the match didn't flame up.
Yeah, gotta get it.
Right.
Yeah, and I owe Mr. Power an apology. I was hard on him, though. Because I was hard. You see, this is the thing I say, Chief. This is the thing I say.
Well, I mean, you know, I can't comment on whether or not he should have said what he did.
Well,
you know, but that did not have.
See,
that was not something that affected my decision.
I lived through the 60s.
Well, you know, I was there too.
Yeah, I lived through.
Maybe
you know what I'm saying?
Maybe a different part of the country.
Yeah, but the history they talk about his history. Like I was part of that history. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that still give me the heebie-jeebies.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Man, you don't turn the police off somebody just to have your own way.
There's absolutely some atrocities, and there are some very inappropriate police actions that happen in the world today, in America. But as a profession, you know, we try to be fair and honest and treat everyone the same. That's my standard.
I'm asking you a question.
I mean, you know the standards that I've applied to the job,
sure.
The people I've met, whether it's a guy that comes in after having committed a crime, you know, talking to the inmates, interfacing with them every day. You see a lot more of me in what I do than other people. And you know what I guess the procedures or actions of the people that preceded me in my job probably better than I do, because you lived here, I didn't.
Let me ask you this question.
How I am.
But let me ask you this question, and this is the $1 million question. And I'm gonna tell you before I ask this question, I'm not even sure this question is fair for you to answer. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Okay.
I'm not even sure it's fair for you to answer.
I'll give you an honest answer. If I can't answer it, I'll say it.
And as a friend, I hate to ask you this, but I need to ask you this because something needs to be clarified. Chief, you're the chief of police.
Right.
But who runs the police department?
Well, you know, I'm responsible for everything that happens in the police department. Again, like any organization, there's a chain of command. My supervisor is Mayor Jack Tibbs.
That's it.
Well, he's my supervisor. You know, of course, the city also has a city council. There's 5 people that by law have the power of the vote when they meet as a city council. Outside of that, they're individual citizens. The day-to-day operations, the mayor's the mayor with mayor's authority every day. The council has authority as a body, as a voting body.
But now,
that's just.
Well, now what kind of police authority do they have? What kind of police authority do they have? They have authority when they meet. They have authority to dictate what goes on in the police department. Is that what you're telling us? when they meet as a body. I understand what you're saying.
Well, I mean, certainly we respect, or I respect, their input on the department. We have to have a good working relationship. Hopefully, we're all working together to protect the community. And the goals are community-oriented, not self-oriented.
All right.
But they come together as a body if they certainly control the funding of the department, which is a huge impact on the department. But controlling funding does not mean that I'm going to do something unethical or unfair or illegal.
The last meeting that I seen on YouTube, you presented a proposal for new vehicles.
Right.
All right. Now, my understanding was that you already had the money for those vehicles.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I can answer this one. Go ahead. I know.
So what part did the city? Could they have said no? You can't buy these vehicles.
Well, yeah, they do control the funding. The police department has a budget.
Okay. So that fell within your budget.
Yeah, the budget has already been approved.
Okay.
But I also have to be responsible on how we spend that money. I can't just take that money and go out and buy 20,000 skateboards.
I understand that.
So what I was presenting to them was, okay, this is my spending plan for this money. Our greatest need for that line item. I mean, the budget has different lines.
Sure.
Categories.
Gotcha.
The equipment category, our greatest need is vehicles. Our vehicles are flat, wearing out. They're old and high mileage, and a department our size needs to rotate, or the number of optimum is probably 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I propose to buy 5 vehicles. Mr. Bennett, I believe, is the one that asked if we could review that in the finance committee, where they actually talked about, now we're talking about the spending plan. Okay, this is how I want to spend the money. Okay, is that the most responsible way to meet your mission needs? And yeah, absolutely, they have input on that. And we had,
was that?
but the finance committee met today.
Okay.
And approved the plan. We are going to be ordering those 5 vehicles.
Now listen to me very carefully. Help me with this. When you made your proposal, was that for so much information? Because you already got your budget approved. You wasn't there to get your budget approved.
Right.
You understand? So was that for so much information, or was that for approval? That's what I'm trying to find out.
I'm going to say it's a little of both. I certainly want to inform them of it, but I want them to understand, okay, they've provided me with money, but there's some stewardship for that money. I need to be responsible in how I spend that, and I need to report to them, this is my plan for spending it. And if you all have any say, no, that's not our intent or whatever for that money, we need to look at it or discuss it. Again, I may have some information or I guess viewpoint on the mission needs of the department that they may not understand, or they may say no, but we've got these other expenditures coming up that were not funded.
So even after your budget has been approved?
Absolutely. I do need to be responsible and coordinate that with them.
So even after your budget has been approved, you still got to go back and say, yeah or nay, on your spending?
I think it's a professional thing to do. I guess legally I could just go out and say, hey, guess what? I just bought 5 cars. That to me would not be responsible. And that's not being visible. At a city council meeting, which is I think was part of the mayor's desire too, is that people understand what are we getting with our money? What are we doing? There's some people are worried about SUVs and gas hogs and all that stuff. And these are classified as SUVs, but they're more of an eco-platform, kind of a crossover vehicle. So I think he wanted to be very visible as to, okay, here's what we're buying and why. Okay. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, let us know so that we can either address them or modify our plans so that we're meeting the needs of the community.
You presented that as if though you had already got one council person approval. That's the way it was presented. Well, and that person presented themselves as if though, yes, since I approve it, that's what it is. Well, is that the case?
We had. It's a new vehicle. It's a fairly new model that Ford came out with as far as their police vehicle. I think this is the 3rd year of production for it. We had a demonstrator vehicle come down, and 2 of the council members and the mayor and myself looked at it and reviewed it with them. The other council members had not seen it. I don't even know if they were aware that the demonstrator came in. So we certainly want to make them aware of it. The original plan, we looked at buying 3 of the SUVs, because we have 3 SUVs right now that are used in utility type roles, canine vehicles, things like that. as those things get older, we need to have replacements in line for those. You don't want to use a brand new vehicle for a kind of a high maintenance or a high wear utility role, like a canine vehicle. So in a couple of years, as our Tahoes start to wear out, these are Ford Explorers, have been on the fleet for 2 or 3 years, and it'll be a natural transition. So, we're making a purchase that not just affects our ability or capability today, but plans for what it's going to address 3 years from now. We're going to have 3 of those and 2 sedans. Mr. Knight had suggested, I really like these vehicles. It's not that much more money to just go with all 5 of the same and none of the sedans. And I agree with that.
Why Mr. Knight?
Mr. Knight was one of the councilmen that looked at the vehicles.
Okay.
There was Mr. Knight, Mr. Bob Powers, and the mayor.
Okay. All right.
They all looked at it and certainly relied heavily on their input on the vehicles.
I have a friend of mine I talked to in Mississippi, police chief, and he told me, he said, when you got a political job, you don't sleep well at night. So how you sleep at night, chief?
Well, I'm not a politician.
You say when you have a political job, and he said nothing about being a politician.
Politics can be.
He said don't sleep. How you sleep at night, chief?
I sleep good because I'm consistent, I'm fair, and I'm honest. That does not mean that I don't know what's the political way to say this.
Political pressure.
I mean.
Do you feel political pressure on your job?
Yeah, there's huge political pressure on a police chief's job, absolutely. But I can't let it influence me to do the wrong thing or to do different things for different people. This is an old town with a lot of people who have been here a while that may think, well, we've got this group of people and that group of people, and we want these laws for this group.
Right.
I don't do that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I run into those kind of things. I think I need to be fair and consistent to everyone. I guess an example is, and I may have told you this, I had someone a few years back saying, hey, you're the police chief. I might need a friend someday. You willing to be my friend? And I said, absolutely, but I don't know if you want to be my friend.
Yeah.
Because I hold my friends to tighter tongue.
Yeah.
I understand. I said,
Yeah.
you could ask my daughter about that. And she's, grown up and getting married. She's 27 years old, but I cut her no slack. I held her to standards that I didn't hold the neighbors' kids to because she represented me.
We've heard stories, and don't make me get specific, please. But we've heard stories of things happening in politicians, be it the mayor, city council, city managers, if you got that form of government, getting involved and going to the police. And in order to get things changed, you got to go to the police chief. And I understand the chief got to get the officer who wrote the ticket, for instance, to change that.
I don't change tickets. I'll tell you that up front.
Okay.
I just flat out won't do it. It's not ethical. It's not legal. I have never done it. I would say 2 zeros. I've never done that. Never will do it. If that creates an issue for me, then let it be, because I'm going to do the right thing.
How would you, and I appreciate your time. I don't want you to forget, I appreciate your time. And I'm trying to wind it down. There's so much we could talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to do this again.
Well, there's legal ways to do things. If someone has a traffic ticket, I had someone come up to me recently and say, hey, I need you to take care of this. And I said, I don't do that, I'm sorry. I said, I have no problem if you want to go talk to the judge or the prosecutors, because a traffic citation is a charging document. It's not you're a guilty document. The prosecutor and then the court, the judge, have the legal ability to adjudicate that ticket in the best interest of the community, the violator, whether that's imposing a fine, traffic court, finding them not guilty, whatever, but it gets adjudicated. That's the legal process. I have no legal ability to make that disappear.
You know what?
I've certainly known that it's happened in the past, probably happens today, but I won't do it.
I paid some speeding. I never give a speeding ticket a second thought.
Because my daughter got a speeding ticket. She said, Daddy, I got a ticket. I said, were you guilty? She said, yeah. And I said, you got to pay that ticket.
That's what I'm saying. I've never got a speeding ticket when I wasn't speeding. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, man, I pay.
I've had a speeding ticket before. Not it's a long time ago. But,
yeah.
It's the ethics of the job. You have to be very mission committed, and you can't be willing to sell yourself for comfort or personal gain. To me, the greatest reward of this job, the reward to self, is the satisfaction knowing that I've done things for people that were fair, and then they may not have been able to do them for themselves.
This is the last thing I'm going to do, then I'm going to let you say what you want to say, but it's my last question. Based on your knowledge and your experience, you've been doing this a while. Rate the men and women that work for you.
We've you know, I would say we got very high caliber people, but you know, I also, I guess when people talk about leadership, they talk about culture and climate. Culture is the way things have been done for years, because that's just the way it is. It's hard, if not impossible, to change. Eufaula certainly has a culture that has existed for years, and we make some progress, but some of that culture still exists. The climate are the things that I can modify every day with equipment, training, policies, things like that. But yeah, some things are the way they were in time and history. It takes time to change them. But you have to, you know, the standards you apply to anyone, whether it's a community or my employees, officers, admin staff, dispatchers, jailers, whatever, I apply the same standards to myself. If I hold them to high standards, I hold myself to the same high standards.
I just read a book.
I can't do something, I'm not permitted to do something that I would not permit them to do, if I said that right.
I just finished reading a book talking about culture. And the title of the book is Breaking the Culture of Your Church. And that's a heavy task.
Culture is...
And it takes time, number one.
It takes
a lot of time and
like,
a lot of heartache.
Well, it's like saying, you didn't get here overnight, you're not going to fix it overnight.
Right. You're going to get a lot of resistance.
Climate, that changes like the weather.
Yeah.
You can change the climate based on your daily decisions and how you are. But to do that, to be effective, you've got to be the person that's part of that change. You've got to hold yourself to those standards. You can't do different things.
You're gonna meet a lot of resistance. I just want to remind our viewing audience that on channel 97 on Tuesday nights at 6:45, Gumbo Live comes on, and we'll also be on YouTube around the same time. And we ask that you would watch us. And we ask that you would watch our Sunday morning program at 10 o'clock. It's a different program. It's not Gumbo Live. It's our Sunday morning church program, Go to Church. But I'm here with the Chief of Police here of the city of Eufaula, Chief Connor, and he deal with every question I throw out at him. He didn't back up on none of them. And I'm going to let him now. Chief, again, I want to say thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. But I never close without giving my guests an opportunity to say whatever they want to say. Whatever you want to say to our viewing audience, feel free to.
I mean, what can you say? You know, I guess my job is and my career is a service career. It's something that I chose to do for other people, and that is the reward that I get. To try and be effective in helping people. I think that a lot of service should be anonymous. Where people don't see me running around saying, "Hey, guess what I did today?" Some people just right place, right time, whatever. You've been one of those people. Have seen some things that I've done that no one else even knows, and they don't need to know. That's, because it's just doing the right thing. We have some very good people. I guess to throw out a pitch to the department. It is a good career. It's a very good service career. It's very rewarding to be there for people. It's the part that we chose. I think everyone in the community can serve the community by being responsible in whatever role they have, whether it's a parent, a student, a business person, a preacher. But I think everyone should be contributing to the community. This is how I've chosen to contribute with my career, and I've enjoyed it. I walked into the career. I'll walk out. It's not going to be a career. At the end of my career, people are looking for me under rocks because I've done something wrong or dishonest. And so, at the end of 35 years, which is where I'm at right now, I'd say I'm still walking upright because I'm doing the same consistent thing, the same mission intent, whether it was military or law enforcement, to be there for people with the talents that I have.
I want to say this, and I can only speak from the circle that, you know, people that do talk to me and those that talk on the side where I can hear them. I think that you are appreciated in this town. I really believe that. I really believe that to the bottom of my heart, and I believe that if a poll was taken by vote or by people standing up, you'd be surprised that the average everyday person really appreciates the job that's done. And I brag all the time. I brag all the time. And I want to say this: I don't think our city elected officials are doing enough to laud what we're doing. Man, we're ahead of Montgomery with body cameras. We're ahead of Dothan and all these other places. Donna Vasquez, my friend, sheriff in Houston County, they just now experiment with putting cameras in the cars and stuff like that, and body cameras. But we're ahead of that.
They're expensive.
Yeah, oh yeah, but we're way ahead of that. What I'm saying, if you're saying, they said this how you solve your problems. You put body cameras and put cameras in the car and give them tasers. That's how you solve your problem. But if that's how you solve your problems, I still want to say that Eufaula is way ahead in the problem solving business.
But it's not just getting cameras. It's, you know, it's trying to be responsible with the money that we have.
I understand that.
To get the equipment we need to provide the service to the community. And part of that service is the visibility and openness. You know, if I'm somewhere and a camera records what went on, it tells one story. Now, people may not like the story, but it tells the story.
Sure. Look, Chief, let me say this. Let me say this. I'm going to let you go home, but I want to say this here. The average person, again, is going to go back and talking to folks. I don't give a foot about no money. We say get a camera. You understand what I'm saying? The money, that's your part. You got to tell us that. You know what I'm saying? We say put a body camera on every officer, put a camera in every car. Give every officer a taser. Teach them how to use it. You understand what I'm saying? That's what we say. That's what the citizens are saying.
Oh,
and if we don't talk,
Sure.
if we doing all the talking, and you're not talking to us, you're not letting us talk to you and tell you what we want, and you say, well, I want the same thing, but it costs money.
But we have to do the best we can with what we have. You know, I mean, I think I made a little, I called it a joke, maybe it wasn't. And when I gave the council the little sheet on the vehicles and had a picture of one of the vehicles, in the background of the vehicle, I think it was a Ford marketing type picture. In the back, it's got a helicopter flying. And I said, I made sure I wrote on there helicopter not included. Buy us a $1 million helicopter.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cameras are expensive, but it seemed to be a very wise expenditure that was prioritized for community policing, so that we're transparent, I guess is the word.
Agree with
And then we have policies that mandate the use of those cameras, but like anyone else or like any other piece of equipment, it's manipulated by human activity.
Sure.
The cameras have limitations. It's not the, I think some people think it's, you know, it's on 24 hours a day filming and seeing everything. It's not. You know, they have a battery life that's good for so much time. It's got a record storage capability that's good for so much time. So we have to manipulate them so that they're operational when they're needed. They're not on constantly.
Look, and everything you saying is true and is good information. And that brings me right back to where I was when I first started. Folks got to know that.
Yeah.
And the only way we can know is that somebody of authority who do know got to come talk to us.
Well, and here's the...
And if you shut off communication, and the only reason why you shut off communication, because there's a lack of respect. There's a lack of respect. And that's what I see. That's what scared me. There's a lack of respect. You understand what I'm saying? Why you wouldn't talk to somebody? There's a lack of respect.
Well, and you know, again, you know, I'm pretty open. I'll talk to everyone.
Sure.
I'm like you. That people say, hey, when's he going to go home? You know, I like talking with people. It's not hard for me to do. But I will be, you know, like I said, I won't talk to you saying I'm going to say what you want to hear or what you like.
Right.
I'm going to be consistent, tell you the truth. If you don't like it, we'll deal with that. But I'll never be malicious or ugly or anything like that. I mean, I certainly know there's people out there that, you know, don't like me. I have no problems.
Get aboard, John. Get aboard. Come on.
That's probably true for everyone. But I would never do anything to be disrespectful or or limit myself from even them having the ability to talk to me. I was going to say, talking about the cameras, you know, community policing requires integrity.
Right, that's right.
That's one way to document the integrity, but the cameras are one thing. We also just recently spent a few $1,000s on a video storage system, so that when an officer captures a video, that video is transferred to a system that the officer has no ability to manipulate or delete that video. It's something that again, that shows that it's there, whatever it is, whatever the story is, that's the story. It's not something, oh, I lost that or something. It's.
Now, how did you do my question about bringing outside? Very quick. Soon as something happens.
I think we got sidetracked.
As soon as something happens. Soon as something happens.
I think any.
Nobody local touch it.
I think anytime there's an incident happen, incident, event, crime, whatever, where you're involved personally, it should be investigated by an independent agency. Otherwise, you're investigating yourself, even if you're saying, hey, I want to do a fair job, I want to be honest, and wherever the cards fall, that's where they fall. You know, there's that credibility is always going to be challenged. I think the right thing to do is to have someone independent. It certainly needs to be someone fair and someone qualified that does that. I don't have any problem with that. You know, again, before I came here, I worked for the Alabama Attorney General's office. You don't really talk to them. They're like the ethics police. You know, we just have very high standards to be fair and honest.
I tell you what,
which it really is easy if that's what you commit to.
If all of my interviews would be like this, man, my producer would kill me. Because you talk, you don't mind, yeah, well, you don't mind. I mean, I love it. Because I always tell my audience, and I always do it. I never leave without telling my audience, and you can verify this. I never make no prearranged deals with my guests. Nope. No prearranged questions. We ask questions, and I let them talk honestly. And I appreciate that about you. I appreciate that about you. Now, quite naturally, if there was an ongoing case or something, I got enough sense not to be waiting to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? But everything we talked about was in general.
Yeah, and there are there are things in police work that compromise victims or even suspects' rights if you put things out there. There's some crimes that are solved because it's through controlling information that there's information that only the victim or the perpetrator of a crime or the people investigating would know. There's things that you do have to have discipline on, but it's not a secret society.
Yeah. One of the things you told us, and I'm going to let you go after this, I promise, because I'm amazed by this, and I'm going to call Stephen when you leave. There is a law even when there's no law. There is a law even when there's no law.
No. There's
no written law. There's no written law said anything he done was wrong. But you say
the law in Alabama is called disorderly conduct.
Okay.
In there it includes disturbing a public meeting.
Okay. All right.
I mean specifically because we know certain events are going to be very high profile, to have the potential to spin out of control.
When can a person protest? When can a person protest a meeting?
You can protest right now. You just can't disturb. You can't disturb other people with your protest.
Well, how you protest without disturbing folks?
What?
It don't get no quieter than holding up a sign, Chief. It don't get no quieter than that.
Again, the circumstances that were there that we talked about.
All right.
Without rehashing that, we've had. Tell you, we had some people probably a few months back that wanted to hold a little meeting. Really, quite frankly, to protest the police department. I had no problem approving that. I mean, for what they wanted to do required a city permit. I have no problem approving that, and we even talked with the people and coordinated and said no problem with it. So make sure that you're safe, and we discussed what actions that would make sure that we maintain safety. We even talked about making sure the bathrooms were open for them. I don't have any problem with that. If they're coming there to wave torches and pitchforks at me, that's okay. Just do it in a way.
Okay, all right. Now you're saying that, man, I'm trying to let you go home.
And they were very nice.
But look, I'm trying to let you go home. So based on what you just said, if we come up there and ask for permission to carry signs into the city council meeting, can we do it?
You can't disturb a public meeting if that's something that creates a disturbance. That's against the law. if the
What's the purpose of a protest?
if the person holding, let's say it's a council meeting, if the council says, okay, we're gonna have this council meeting and we're allowing all this, hey, it's their meeting, it's, you know, they can set the tempo of their public.
No, we gotta come get permission from you. We're gonna protest. And you got to sign all about advocate the protest.
There's a city ordinance on public events, and it lays out some specifics about, I think, numbers of people, type of activity, things like that. You just need to comply with that ordinance. A lot of times if someone wants to permit for something, I've got to break out the ordinance and make sure that I'm given the correct approval or denial.
You think that I know
Because
that?
again, I've got to follow the law.
But you think that that's a possibility? If me and Stephen and another person wanted to hold up some signs, that we could come to you and get.
If you want to walk up and down the sidewalk and hold your signs and you're not blocking the sidewalk, preventing access to another building, assaulting people, things like that, you may not need a permit. If you're going to, block the sidewalks, cause things that cause us to have to reroute traffic or do things for safety, yeah, you probably need a permit.
But if I want to go inside?
If you want to go inside someone else's building,
Yeah.
you probably need their permission to go inside that building. If it's a public building and it's not a public meeting, let's say if you want to come in the lobby of the police department and hold your sign up, as long as you're not, doing something that's disorderly, which is, again, I guess the best thing to do is look at Alabama law. You can Google it. It's disorderly conduct, and read that. We have to apply the elements of that crime. Every crime has elements, like a cookbook. If you're going to make a chocolate cake, it takes chocolate, not lemon flavor. If someone commits the crime of armed robbery, it requires certain elements to be that crime. Otherwise, maybe it's not that crime, or it's something else, or maybe it's no crime.
See, I'm gonna let you go home.
But yeah, if the elements, if an officer has, they talk about probable cause, has the probable cause to believe that a crime has occurred, and that person
or about to occur,
and that person is the one committing it, then they're establishing probable cause, and there's more to the definition of that. But that's the basic of it.
Okay.
So if someone's arrested, they're not convicted of the crime, they're being charged with it based on probable cause.
Okay. Now, one thing that you have proven, I don't know if you know it or not, but you have proven what I say all the time. It's very important for folks to talk. And just that little incident when we were talking about, I didn't want that to take up all of our time, but it took more time. But listen, you proved that. How important.
Well, that was my view. There's some people, but there's people. I also realize there's people, and you do too, that there's people who will probably watch us and say, I don't buy that.
Yeah.
That's up to you, but that's, again, I'm consistent.
We got both sides.
That was what my judgment call was, based on the circumstances I saw that were best to maintain order and safety.
I fought the accused.
And that was the end result, and again, I thank the gentleman for cooperating, because, he was very nice.
So this is not a police state. It's not a police city. You ain't got to worry about.
Not with me, I've never been like that.
Somebody sick in the police.
Does it exist in the world, in America, in certain places? Yeah, there's absolutely officers that may not have the highest character or conduct sometimes, but I don't tolerate it.
Oh, man. Look, this is what we're gonna do next time. This is what we're gonna do next time. And we're gonna do this again.
Okay.
But I want
another 30-minute meeting.
No, we're gonna do it tonight.
We're running an hour.
Yeah. My producer's gonna kill me. But I want us to, next time we meet, to convenience, I want to talk about the entertainment district.
Okay.
I want to talk about how's it going. If everything is being complied by, that's supposed to be complied by. A lot of stuff's supposed to go through your office. My understanding from what they say.
Something's due, something's due. A lot of it is the city's civil code, which goes through the
But I want to talk about
department.
I want to talk about that.
My interaction would be any criminal activity.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that.
And I won't even say anything about it then, but
yeah,
the police department's involvement would be any criminal activity that is resulting or.
And I thought you had to approve. But then we'll talk about that. I got some things I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about what are we going to do? What are we going to do to get our force to look like the community? Let's talk about that at a later date. Let's not try to work about that now.
I will say, I guess maybe the second parting comment, we'd like to hire more people that represent the community. we want community, or we want qualified people. We're, not going to hire someone because they are a certain ethnicity. If they get the job, it's because they earned it, and they just happen to be that ethnicity.
No.
And there are good qualified people of all ethnicities out there, and we've hired some lately. And in fact, the 4 that just graduated from the academy, and I said we're about 50-50. That's 50-50 there.
No,
But but every one of them, they're there because they earned the job and they're qualified people. They just happen to be one ethnicity or another.
And I told you we're gonna talk about this later.
Okay,
We can go.
we're on it.
Have you seen the movie Selma?
No, I have not.
One of the qualifications to vote was you had to recite the Declaration of Independence. All right. The role that Oprah Winfrey was playing.
So you're talking
in the movie
1960.
Yeah, but the point is,
When was that? 62,
63. But the point is, she recited it verbatim. You know what they put on the thing application?
Denied.
Let's go, team. Let's go. Let's go home. Tell your wife hello. I'm already at home. Tell your wife hello for me.
I will.
And I really enjoyed this, and we're gonna do it again.
The next time you need a haircut, think of the barber shop with a grand tradition. Williams Barbershop. Williams Barbershop, proud to serve the entire community of Eufaula. Come by to our new location, new facilities, and see what it's like to be treated in style at Williams Barbershop in the old JCPenney catalog store. There is another choice for making funeral arrangements. Central Funeral Services, located in Eufaula and Louisville, Alabama. With one-of-a-kind staff, thrives on professionalism and meeting the unique needs of families with a wide variety of services. Owned and operated by the Mixon family. Call 687-1060 or 266-5261. Melissa Mixon Smith, licensed funeral director.